Hey everyone, welcome back to Bowling with Lefty, Bowling Lefty's channel. So today I got this week what I want to do for you guys is I want to do a few ball reviews and discuss a couple balls. And so today I'm going to start it off. We're going to discuss this bad boy right here, the stealth mode. If you were watching the TV show last night, you would have seen that that was a ball that was used on TV last night. Very controllable. Had great, looked great on TV. Darren Ong bowled against EJ Tackett with it. He was using this one and the Stealth Hybrid. So let's get into it. So the Stealth mode by Track. This is the fourth one in the line. There are three others were the original Stealth, the Stealth Pearl, and the Stealth Hybrid was released last year. I remember when the original Stealth came out, it was very successful. A lot of people enjoyed it. Stealth Pearl, I didn't really know too much about. And then finally, the Stealth Hybrid has had a lot of success as well. So being that they had such great success, control with this ball, they decided that they would release the Stealth mode with an updated cover stock. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's talk about the history of the Stealth. And let's see, it originally came out in 2022. Where am I at here? Yep, 2022 with a cover stock of the QR9. This is not a HK22 ball, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So the cover stock is not HK22. And the numbers across the board are all pretty similar because they use the same core. As a matter of fact, across all four balls, the numbers are almost identical. So let's talk about it. So all of them have a 2.482.056 diff, 2.482 RG with that 0.056 diff. The original Stealth was a 500, finished at 500, 1,000, and 1,500. The difference with this one is that it's a the cover stock is a QR10, which is a little bit more advanced, supposed to give you a little bit more back end on this ball. And it's finished at 500 to 1,500. It skipped the 1,000 grit process. So let's talk about the Stealth mode, and then I'll talk about what I bought it for coming up. So the Stealth mode, this is going to be my layout. Okay, you see the pin. The pin is this red dot here, and this is going to be the CG. Obviously, it is a symmetrical ball, so we don't have that mass bias marking that is on the ASIM ball. So if you ever are wondering what's the symmetrical and asymmetrical, you'll notice it only has the two dots, okay? And symmetrical, meaning that the core is a similar shape all the way around. So there is not that third dot. And in one of my Black Widow Mania video, we'll go ahead and talk about, the mass bias marking on the bowling ball, and I'll show you the difference between that. So stay tuned to that. This week, I am going to release, hopefully release at least 2 videos regarding the bowling balls, and then I will release a league review video, so be looking for that. But this week, I'm going to release the Stealth mode video review, and then I'm also going to release a review on the Black Widow Mania compared to the Black Widow 3.0 and a little bit of history about the Black Widow. So be looking for that probably tomorrow. But this boy right here, we got this one, okay? It's got my drilling, the 2-finger tip. So in my arsenal, I needed a ball to replace this guy, my knockout bruiser. So I had originally had the original knockout, and then they came out with kind of a hybrid one. I forget what it was called, but it was I didn't have that one, but I did end up getting the knockout bruiser. Knockout bruiser came out in 2023, and I've been using it probably, I would say, for about the last year and a half. Since about January, it moved into my bag as my original knockout was getting old. Still amazing how the original knockout works. I use that a lot in practice when I don't want to put a lot of games on some of my newer equipment. I'll take that knockout, and the original knockout is still one of the best balls of all time. But The Knockout Bruiser here is very similar to it and has great amount of hook for a symmetrical ball. So for me, what I needed when I was looking at getting another symmetrical ball was I needed something to replace this one, since it is getting kind of, for bowling balls, if you use them quite a bit, I don't really like using them more than a couple years. Over time, the inside of the bowling ball continues to harden. It is all a lot of concrete based material inside. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll let them last a couple years. And to be honest, with those bowling balls that have that are made by Brunswick, that have dynamic core, I'm not real sure what if it still has the same natural hardening as as regular concrete does. So I'm not sure about that, if it continues to I can't think of the word at this time, but it like continues to age or whatever. And so a lot of times the ball does, I do notice after a couple years, if you get games on it, like I've talked about bowling ball maintenance, I do keep up with my maintenance on the bowling ball. So as far as the cover goes, I try and keep it as fresh as I can. Extract oil from it as much as I can with the amped solution from CTD. But I needed something that was going to take this guy's place. Now, the problem the last couple years has been that the Brunswick line of families, especially Brunswick, has not really released a good symmetrical bowling ball. They've really been focusing on the ASIM technology. And so that's been kind of the thing. So when I saw this ball was coming out, I thought, you know what, let's take a look at it. And all the stuff I saw, I remember the original Stealth. Now, when buying a later version of a ball, you do have to be cognizant that a lot of times the original is still the best. And so this one being almost identical to the original with a little bit more better cover stock. Again, it's not a HK22, which is one of the few bowling balls that you can buy through Brunswick now that is not HK22. As a matter of fact, the only one that was a HK22 was the Stealth Hybrid, and it had the HK22 with the QR9 additive added to it. So that's the only one of the four that has had the HK22 in this line. But the original did great, so I wanted to take a look at this one, and I can tell you that it definitely does move. So it is a ball that is controllable, which is what I use my symmetrical bowling balls for. It's very controllable. It's exactly what I was hoping to do with replacing the Brunswick Knockout. Obviously, it has a little bit more motion than the Knockout. It is newer. And let's talk the numbers, the comparison of the numbers. So comparing the numbers on the RG is a little bit higher on the Brunswick Knockout. It's 2.487 compared to 2.482. However, the biggest difference is going to be that diff. The diff on the Knockout Bruiser is 0.050, and on this ball it's going to be 0.056. Now your max diff that USBC allows is 0.060. So that is a pretty significant diff. It's a very high diff, and so that is going to get the ball more rolling, give it some good hook to it. So definitely, when I saw the numbers, when I saw it advertised, I thought it was going to be a great ball. So far it has very controllable, nice smooth angle, does start hooking. As you might remember from last week's video, my ball review video, if you watched that one, I had problems in the second and third game with the Black Widow Mania losing. It's pretty much, it got where it hit the wet dry and it was taken off and it was uncontrollable at that point. So what happened was I made a mistake and didn't switch soon enough. But as soon as I did, I think I shot over, for 5 frames, I shot over 100 with it. So which would have put me on my pace for 200. So that's what this ball is great for me, is that I'm able to go into it whenever the lanes are kind of unpredictable. I can go to this ball, use it to predict. It'll be much more easy to read From some of the videos I saw that people were doing, they even said this would be a great ball the first out of the bag on a fresh, where once you hit the end of that pattern and ASM ball really wants to read it and hook, this ball is going to continue to read it and have that controllable motion. For me, as I talked about earlier, I'm not a urethane guy. So with my ball speed and stuff, and for me, urethane, it just looks, never thrown it. And from what I see with it, I don't like the way it reacts down lane. It's kind of unpredictable for me, and I like stuff that's very predictable. So I prefer, if somebody is using urethane, I've learned how to make my changes based off of that, and learn how to get it to the pocket without having to have that urethane ball to rely on. So like you saw last night in the show, a lot of people were using urethane, and Darren Ong used this. He didn't throw great. His shots, not all of his shots were great and consistent like most pro bowlers are, but he did use the ball. You could see that it definitely was controllable for him, and it was able to keep him around the pocket. So that's this ball, and hopefully you take a look at this. This is a good symmetrical ball from Track and the Brunswick family line. I've been waiting a while. I actually was looking to replace that Knockout last year sometime when I bought some other equipment, but it took a while because there wasn't anything that really stuck out to me. My Snapshot, which we'll review probably next week, I'll throw out a couple reviews with the Snapshot and Mesmerize. But with the Snapshot, it is more of it's a pearlized symmetrical. However, I do believe it is more on the line of, it's a mix between a symmetrical and an ASIM, which is a very unique ball, which we can get into later. So anyways, hopefully you enjoy this video. Go out, try that stealth mode. You won't be disappointed. Good luck, good bowling.